I have overloaded my iCloud account. Now I'm more than the 5 gig.
Right up in front of your mouth like it's a popsicle.
But anyway.
That won't help.
Okay. The fact is that I am at 50 gigs.
Okay.
And I've filled it.
All right.
Most of it is, pictures.
Yep.
Now here's my problem. I want to take all my pictures, download them to my external hard drive, and I want to do it within my lifetime because it's taking forever.
So how fast is your internet at home?
I've got 35 megabits per second.
Okay. Have you ever thought about upgrading it?
Well, that's not the real question here.
Sure.
The question is, when I go in there and I say select all the pictures, which are over 5,000,
Yep.
it won't do that.
No.
Why not?
Because it's too many to do all at once, because it will take you the rest of your lifetime. So the easiest way to do it would do smaller batches.
Well, that's exactly true.
Right.
That's what I'm doing now.
Okay.
But the reality is that I will spend most of my time in my office, instead of working, downloading batches.
Sure.
And I need a quicker way of doing it.
So, are you doing this wirelessly to your computer, or do you have an Ethernet cable running into your
No,
computer?
everything is Ethernet.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that would be the one advantage for making your internet a little quicker and a little faster.
Absolutely. It's not Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right. Do we have any suggestions?
What's your ISP speed?
Overnight.
I just said
35.
35.
35.
Yeah, which is not bad.
I only heard 5, sorry.
Oh, okay. Pat?
He said he's doing it at his office.
It is my home.
His office is at home. Okay.
Office at home, but are you 24/7? Like, for example, right now, is it down?
No.
So how
It's
many?
not there.
Huh?
It's not there.
Do you have to watch it?
No.
Is there a way to create an Apple script?
If you ask somebody that was better at programming, I'm sure they could give you the answer of yes. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm not a programmer. I'm more of a hardware guy myself. Jim?
How did you put the pictures on iCloud?
I really didn't put them there. They automatically ascended to iCloud.
So what device did they come from to get there?
They came from my iPad, iPhone, and also my actual computer.
Okay. So if they came from the computer, they're on the computer.
True.
If they're on the phone still, plug the phone in, connect it to Photos, download everything into there, connect the iPad in, download everything, all the photos into the Photos program as well. That will give you all your pictures, except for any photos that you may have deleted off of your phone or deleted off of your iPad in the meantime because, hey, they're up in the cloud, I'm okay. Because once you get it all on the computer, say into the Photos program or wherever you want to file them, then you have everything at once and you could just plug a hard drive into the computer and just copy the whole file at once. And that would be a lot faster than re-downloading.
The reason I'm saying what I'm saying is that when I do that, when I delete an actual photo,
Right.
a little note comes up.
Yep.
It says, this will be deleted and all your other devices.
Correct. That's because the
That scares the hell out of me, okay?
All right. So the iCloud photo library, that's its management. So if you delete, say, 10 pictures off of your iPhone, it will take them out of your iCloud photo library within 30 days. They will be gone forever.
Good.
So they're just warning you, saying, you're going to lose them. But they're hoping that you go, oh, okay, yeah. But if you keep saying, when it comes up, if you say, oh no, don't do that, don't delete them, then they're still living on your device as well as up in the library. So the easiest way, it sounds like for you to get those pictures off your phone and your iPad and move them to the computer would be to connect them, download them. Then, if you delete them, you've got them on the computer.
Which
And they should still stay in the cloud.
Which automatically takes them to the cloud.
But the cloud is taking what's on your computer and putting it up there. If you delete pictures off your computer, it will take them out of the cloud, typically within 30 days. And then they're really gone at that point in time. So a lot of people will have a MacBook Air. You've got an iMac, so you've got a lot of storage.
Yeah, 1 terabyte on my computer,
Okay.
2 terabytes on my external drive.
Perfect, great. But for that person that has the same amount of pictures as you on a 128 gig MacBook Air, it's just not gonna work. It's a huge problem, and they think that iCloud photo library is gonna be there. Okay, here's my backup source. But it's a temporary backup source. It's not a long-term backup source. So you wanna keep them long-term. I get that. That makes perfect sense. But to do that, you need them to a hard drive. So the pictures that you have in the cloud that aren't on any of your devices, those should be the ones you should be trying to download back down as quick as possible, and you'll have to be selective.
Okay. Secondary question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a place on the actual iCloud saying, don't load any pictures? Is that,
No.
Don't you have to do that on a device?
Yeah, on the device, so on your iPhone, you could turn off iCloud Photo Library, and that will stop pushing things up to the cloud.
so the cloud itself does not have some way of attenuating the input that it takes?
No.
All or nothing.
The iCloud drive is similar to your external hard drive. Your external hard drive doesn't have any. It just takes whatever you feed,
Okay.
and that's what iCloud's gonna do.
Jim?
I think it might be well to have somebody who's fought this kind of fight with iCloud, maybe spend a little while in your office.
Are you coming over?
We can talk about that.
Yeah, we haven't come out to do.
That might be a solution. Sure.
By the way, this is almost on topic. I actually implemented two-factor authentication, and I haven't broken anything yet. And I've been running it for 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
There is no documentation that explains how much fun it really is.
Yeah, I got this.
Right.
On authentication, you put in your password, all of a sudden it comes up, here's a number.
Yeah,
And it
that's
comes
the
out on
one.
my phone,
Yep.
so I have to put it back in. I don't really care. Get to that point.
Then you can, if you don't want to use two-factor, you can then disable
when
it.
you've got 5 computers and 4 iDevices, it gets a little more interesting.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
okay.
and I should talk. You gotta come over. Get a beer, whatever. You work with me. Thank you very much for everybody's.
All right.
I was gonna ask me had any kids.
Dave,
Yes,
on that subject, it might be interesting for someone to talk a little bit about when you have multiple computers and iDevices.
okay.
What are some of the ramifications? Like, how do you set two-factor auth?
Sure.
That, for me, that would be helpful, putting an extra back.
Okay, so are you volunteering?
No. I
Okay,
need-
but it's a good topic that you'd like to see.
Knowledge, so I know
Okay.
what to do.
Not a problem, then we will take advantage of that and see if we can get that put together. That is a very good idea.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Richard?
I'm Richard Jackson, and I just want to make a couple quick announcements.
Hold it close to your mouth, please. Thank you.
The Southeast Michigan Computer Organization, November 12th, is having the Richard Companion.
That's pretty up by your house.
We can't hear you, Richard.
Oh, I'm Richard Jackson, Vice President of the Southeastern Michigan Computer Organization, SEMCO. And we are having Richard Dependent of Micro Center talk about what's hot for the holidays. Everybody loves him. When he comes out, he talks about what's the latest and greatest technology you can buy for the new year and Christmas and what have you. Also, I'm in another nonprofit called Your Own Uniqueness. And we are having the WOW event with transformational speakers. And if anybody's interested, they can see me and I can tell them how to get to it.
Fantastic.
Or if you have a bunch of money with you for $45, you can even buy them from me right now.
All right.
I'll tell you more about it just coming up.
Thanks, Richard.
Okay, since I had to keep this to my lips, in my left hand is a iPhone
Yes.
6 Plus.
Yes.
Under my left armpit is a brand new iPad,
Right.
which is Pro.
Okay.
It's fabulous. And I've loaded 11.03 on both.
Okay.
2 questions. One of the best things about 11 is the swipe down on the keyboard, which allows you to get your numbers and it's absolutely worth the price of admission right there.
Right.
On my 6, it's not there. That's not a function, it's a function of the hardware.
I believe I don't have that on my 6 Plus either. I think it is a hardware limitation.
So which will be solved when my iPhone 10 arrives.
As soon as you can place your order, yes, that should help solve your issue.
All right, that's question number 1. Question number 2, again, I love iOS 11.03 on my 6 Plus, but it really got slow.
Okay.
That is a function of the hardware, which again will be resolved with my iPhone 10.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
When you put iOS 11 on your phone, did you just upgrade or did you restore the phone?
I think I just upgraded.
Okay, so did I, and mine was slow. I then restored the phone, and oh my goodness, it got better.
And I do that by pointing to my computer.
Yep, plug it into iTunes. Once the phone shows up in iTunes, click on that little icon up along the top bar in iTunes. You'll see everything, and you'll see a button on the corner, in the upper right corner, that says Restore iPhone. There's another button next to it that says Update. Update just pushes the update onto it. Restore erases everything off your phone. Once everything is erased off of your phone, it then re-downloads the software and puts it back on fresh. That was my solution. So before you click the button that says Restore iPhone, because you now know that everything will be gone, you have 2 options. Well, actually, you have 3. Option 1, near the center of the page, there's a button that says Back Up Now. If you click that button first, it will back up all of your data. If you are using your phone to maintain health information, if you want it to save all that health information, you need to make an encrypted backup. If you do not encrypt your backup, it will not save any health data. So if you are keeping track of your steps, if you're keeping track of your blood pressure, or any of the other things that you can do with your Apple Watch and your Apple phone, you will either A, not keep it, or you will. But encrypting it means you have to make another password. So if you're sick and tired of passwords, but you don't care about your health data, then go for it. If you do need that, and you will need to make a password. Your other option is, if you have an iCloud backup, you can then restore from that backup after you've finished restoring the phone. And your third option is to hit the Restore iPhone button and know that it is only your fault that you have erased all your data, all your phone numbers, your pictures, your health data, your high game scores, whatever it is. that will all be gone because it will be like getting a brand new phone out of the box and you will be setting it up fresh. So I have warned you. Hopefully you will be comfortable doing this. And I think you will be temporarily happy by restoring your 6 Plus, just like I was. Because it really bogged down a little bit for me, and I didn't care for it.
But the 10, if I'm gonna take the phone out of the box and stick it into the computer, it's gonna grab everything.
As long as you have a backup on the computer, it sure will. Or if you have a backup in iCloud. Now the nice thing is, it's not backing up your boggy iOS 11.
In the olden days, I used to back up my phone weekly to my computer.
Sure.
Not anymore. But before I go to my 10, make sure that I have in fact backed it up.
Right. So I appreciate that. So something along.
I have a question regarding what you asked about the keyboard. That keyboard is on the iPad, but that keyboard is not on the iPhone.
Right.
Okay, you were asking, will it come to the iPhone? It's,
I thought it came on the,
no, it's just on the
it's just for the
iPad.
iPad.
Yeah, they're not on the iPhones. I have a
Okay.
7 Plus, and the new keyboard is not on the iPhone, just the iPad.
Okay.
It's possible that maybe, does anybody have an 8 yet?
I thought it was on the 8.
It may be on the, I don't have an 8.
We have the internet. Let's find out.
Good question.
It's your homework.
Yeah. Let me just do a quick scroll. I know I'm going fast. I'm not slowing down. Okay, good. Could just make the window bigger. What? Give me a sec.
Well, there's an iPhone user guide for it.
Well, but that's the iPad user guide. It's okay. I thought that that feature showed up on my wife's Success.
I am reading that it shows up on the iPhone 8 and 7 Plus, but
It's not on yours?
I don't see it on.
Okay, so there must be something that you can turn on to make it show up. Because I personally hate that keyboard.
You don't like that?
No, I don't like it at all. I don't like seeing the numbers on top of the keys. But once I started using it, I went, oh, this is useful. But it just, when I first see it, it just looks weird.
Yeah, going back and forth to screens, you don't have to do that.
It gives you back the old function keys that you lost.
Right.
I bet you can find out really quick using Google.
Yeah, I bet we could. Messages. The real question is in iOS 11, you can get, the keyboard shows the letter, and then in the top part of it, it's ghosted. You can see like a row of numbers going across and other functions as well, which is very convenient for a lot of people. My daughter pointed out to me the one about how you can type with one hand when you're trying to send a message. You can make the keyboard go to the left or the right, depending if you're left or right-handed. So that way everything's within a thumb. So how many people used to have a BlackBerry? Anyone? Okay, so you were pretty good with your thumbs on a BlackBerry, because most people did not type, it was thumb action all over the place. This gives a little bit of that feature. But what he's describing is, I am not seeing it here, which is weird. Keyboard. No, it's showing the reachability.
I see where you can split the keyboard, but not where you can guess those numbers.
Okay.
and figures.
So perhaps that is just a iPad only?
Because typically when you.
I will find that answer for you and put it on the IBBS, and so everyone can see that. I will guarantee that I will get that information.
As soon as the 10 arrives.
But the 8 is out now, so yeah, okay. So we'll go with that for now.
I have an 8.
You've got an 8?
If I show it to you,
Sure, if you don't mind. Thanks.
but I haven't done anything with it to make it different.
Right. No,
I think it's,
yeah, it's not on.
my previous unit was a 6, so I didn't notice any difference between this and 6.
Okay.
You tried it sideways?
Yeah, can I just open the text thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
We have no secrets here.
Okay, great. I hope not. No, it doesn't. Sideways, it doesn't show that. It just shows the characters. So perhaps it is just an iPad-only feature, but we'll find out for sure. Let me get out of this. Let me get back to this. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been told that I currently have OS X Chapter 10, and I've been told that I can't upgrade to the latest operating, but I'm not sure the best way to do it on a machine safely.
Okay. The safest way to upgrade any machine is to make a backup first.
Doing a hard backup.
Yeah.
I normally
Yeah, that would be fine. A time machine backup would be good, super duper, carbon copy cloner, your choice in that. But a backup is always the smartest thing you can do first. And that the machine that you have, what model is it?
That's a MacBook Pro.
Okay. What year?
I think it's 2000. It says mid-2000.
Okay. Mid-2009. I'm not sure we'll get you into High Sierra. It will? No. Okay. I thought they wanted 2011 and higher. The 9s and the 10s, not quite. So you are on 10.11, which is El Capitan. You should be able to download Sierra, which is 10.12. You should not be able to download High Sierra. I mean, take it back. You probably can download it, but it won't install because it's a 2009 machine. So my recommendations, because Sierra is no longer on the App Store, you may need to contact AppleCare and ask them to give you a code to download Sierra on your machine to go from there. Or if you really want to make life easy, back up your machine, make an appointment at a Genius Bar, and they will be happy to erase your machine and install 10.12 on it for you. Should take about 20 minutes once you have your appointment set up and you get in. And because they're going to do what's known as an erase and install, and they've got it all hooked up on the server, so it's fairly painless. And when you get home, you can then restore your data back to the machine.
Like from the cloud?
Well, from Time Machine, I would recommend. But if you use SuperDuper or Carbon Copy Cloner, you can restore it from that as well. If you use online backups such as Carbonite or Backblaze or CrashPlan, that's what I was trying to think of. You can restore your backup from there if you're using that. However, it's slow. It's really, really, really slow.
CrashPlan will send you a disk
Sure.
if you want.
Yeah. One of their plans is, it's a little extra, but they will move all your stuff to a hard drive. So you're now looking at probably paying a FedEx fee and paying for the drive, which makes it easy. But if you've already have a hard drive at home and you've got a backup on that, then you're all good.
I got a Western Digital.
Perfect. So if you've got a Time Machine backup of your machine on there, then you're golden. You're ready to go. Yes?
Just some info, CrashPlan no longer does that, and CrashPlan is ending their consumer plan.
So, right, so that's why I was having a stumble on the CrashPlan, because I pretty much put it out of my mind because they were removing the consumer level. And now if you want to stay with CrashPlan, which is a good software solution, you're now paying the business plan price. So the prices are going up.
They are offering that present CrashPlan members who have a consumer plan, you can join now and get their small business plan for the rest of your subscription for free.
Right.
And then for the next year, you will only pay 75% of the small business cost.
Right.
And it still is a great deal, even after that 1 year when the small business cost does.
Sure. So let's say you have 6 months left on your current plan with CrashPlan. Cool. You keep paying the same price you're paying. The following, you get one re-up at a 75% reduction. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah, you're going to pay a little bit more, but it's not horrible. But the year after that, you now are paying the full price of the small business plan. So it's going to step up. And so if it's something you'd like to do, then go for it. If it's something that you'd like to shop around for something else, just remember there are pros and cons to every offline or online storage all the way around. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I see her was released as what date?
It was September. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head.
It's been the last 2 weeks, last month.
Last month. I'd say it's probably been 3.5 weeks. I've got it on 2 machines at home right now. Great. Absolutely fantastic.
So if I'm running 10, 12, I should have gotten days notice.
No, that's the catch on this one. They did not push out update notices. If you have reminders turned on, you will get the little splash screen in the corner, the upper right corner of your screen, and saying, oh, hey, High Sierra's out. Feel free to download it or learn more. But no, there is no little red circle in your App Store box telling you to download it. And the neat thing I found was, if you open up the App Store app and let me show you. Okay, so everyone can see that I am on 10.12. I'm on Sierra. This machine I haven't upgraded yet, just because of ScreenFlow that we use to capture audio and video of our meetings. So they have just put out a newer version of ScreenFlow. I just haven't gotten it yet. But this machine, I can go to High Sierra. So typically, when Apple put out the new update, you would go into the App Store and you click Updates. And then it would show you everything that you've installed or what you need to install. But usually right across the top of the screen, it showed you the new operating system. Hey, Sierra, pretty picture. Come on, download it. They took that away for High Sierra.
Good thing, too.
Really good thing, because this is preventing people from accidentally trying to upgrade their system when they're not ready. Because professionally, I can't tell you how many times people have come in and they've done the jump from 10.8 to 10.12 and they can't understand why things are broken because you've just jumped 4 operating systems. Yeah, things are probably cracking already, and that big jump to the next operating system just finished breaking what was already cracking. So you have to now go to Featured. So if you click on the star at the top and you come on over here, let me see if I can make that bigger for everyone as well.
Search works too.
Yeah, so that'll work. But if you go to Apps Made by Apple, and over here is High Sierra, and you can click and download it. It'll add it. Depending on what version of the operating system you're on, it may or may not ask you for your password for your Apple ID. I have found that if you are on 10.10 or lower, and your machine can handle it, it will ask for that password. If you are on 10.11 or 10.12, I found that it didn't. So my wife's Mac Mini running 10.10, I had to put in my password for the Apple ID. My MacBook Air, I did not have to do that. It is a sizable download as well. I believe it's...
5.16 gig.
Was that what it was for you?
Well, that was one of them.
Okay. All right. I think I had, on the Mini, I think it was a little over 6. But that's because it was also jumping up from Yosemite. But this is where you would find the file to download it. So if you do want to upgrade to this system, your machine can handle it, go for it. I will, again, state, please make a backup before you do it. I actually have found that my MacBook Air runs faster, which I thought it ran really good in Sierra, and I'm actually seeing a speed performance in High Sierra. On my wife's Mac Mini, which has a traditional hard drive in it versus a solid state drive, it seems zippier, but then again, this is my second point that I'd like to make before upgrading. I upgraded the memory. So she went from 4 gigs of RAM to 8 gigs of RAM. And I am sure that alone helped the heck out of this. But with High Sierra running on it with the 8 gigs of RAM, that would be my recommendation, both personally and professionally. If you're running a machine with only 4 gigs of RAM, do not run High Sierra. Because unless you are a person that only runs one program at a time and doesn't leave anything sitting open in the background, you're not going to be happy. You're going to see the wheel. Now, if you are on a machine that is running a solid state drive and an older one with only 4 gigs of RAM, it'll be okay. If you have 8 gigs of RAM, you will be very happy. The machines I see that are running 16 gigs of RAM, like a brand new MacBook Pro, holy smokes, it just screams. And people that are running iMacs that have 16 or even 32 gigs of RAM, they're saying it's like a brand new machine. And this is on a 2012 iMac. So you figure a 5-year-old machine suddenly getting new life, that's a nice feature. I will say that High Sierra is meant for solid state drive machines because the new file format really takes advantage of the solid state technology versus your traditional drive, moving parts. So if you are going to go that route and you've got an older hard drive in there, might not be a bad idea maybe for an upgrade to a newer drive in that device before going this route. You will see some benefits, and hopefully it'll put a smile on your face.
Nice thing to do too is also put it onto a flash drive. There's a way to put the High Sierra on a flash drive, you take flash drive and that.
Yeah, I agree with you to a point.
Agree with what, Dave?
Putting it to a flash drive.
What?
High Sierra?
For an installer?
Yeah, as an installer, I agree with you on that. I've seen it work better on a 16 gig flash drive than on an 8 gig flash drive. And I don't know why. So we made a couple of flash drives at work, and we had a USB 3 8 gig, USB 3 16 gig. And the 8 gig one it didn't want to take the install right. And they were brand new drives. The 16 gig one, so we just gave up on the 8, got another 16. And it's a great way to have a way to reinstall the operating system without having to wait for the download all over again. So you're right, it's good to have it on another drive. And a USB 3 flash drive will take advantage of it. Now, if you're plugging it into a 2012 MacBook Pro that is USB 2, not a lot of advantage there. If your machine has USB 3, then it will go quickly.
Dave?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a flash drive too. It can be the 320 gig drive that you took out of your old
Sure.
laptop a while ago.
Yep.
And a USB enclosure or in a toaster. And as your comment about USB 2, it's still a lot faster in downloading, let me tell you. I got a 2009 MacBook Pro running High Sierra here.
Okay.
It can't, of course. But it's running High Sierra, and I did that with a 320 gig drive that I built the installer on.
Okay.
In a toaster plug-in.
Right.
Toaster, that's a mount you could just drop your hard drive in.
So physically they look like a toaster, because to remove the drive you have to press a button like a toaster to get it to pop out. But yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so what you were saying about being optimized, that is High Sierra being kind of optimized the SSD.
Right.
That hold true for the Fusion drives online.
Currently, High Sierra will not install on a Fusion drive. So if you have an iMac with a Fusion drive, it will not allow you to install it. Apple has said that they have a fix coming, and it looks like they're saying it'll be January.
Dave,
Yes.
it won't do the different format, it will install.
Right, because it gets confused for the new file format for the drive itself.
It's running beautifully on 2015 iMac.
Yeah, it will run, but the Fusion setup with the solid state and the traditional drive in there, the way that it is built and paired together so it can transfer back and forth like it is, High Sierra doesn't play well with that just yet. And they're saying that it's coming, they know it. They announced that before they released it. They said, yeah, we've got this, but you won't be able to do it on your Fusion drive till first of the year.
Until they give it a transfer.
Essentially, yeah, it'll need a transfusion. So, but once that happens, it'll be better. Yes, ma'am.
When you say file format, you mean the way the drive handles its organization or the actual file format?
It is how the drive is formatted.
Okay, formatting.
So right now,
Not like
Yeah.
in doc, da-da-da-da.
this drive is set up in Mac OS Extended Journal,
Okay,
okay?
yeah,
So that's been the way that the Mac operating system has worked for years and years and years.
right, it's the way the drive is formatted.
Correct. So when you partition the drive and you start over fresh, you choose. Windows is NTFS?
NTFS.
Okay, that's how Windows sets theirs up. High Sierra is using, Jim, help me,
HFS Plus is the format that's been used on disk. Core storage makes use of HFS and virtual drives.
Right.
APFS, the Apple filing system, is the logical follow-up to core storage. It partitions the main physical drive into slices, just
Right.
like any Unix system, and then it takes one of those, and that becomes a synthesized, they call it, but it's a virtual drive that they build all their Apple filing systems on. That's one of the reasons why you can't see APFS drives when you plug them into an older machine.
right.
It's just not, the
But-
drivers aren't there.
Yeah, but your files that you have on your computer, they're still going to be in the same place where you found them. Right. So desktop, documents, downloads, movies, music, photos, all that stuff will be in the same spot where you had it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all of this crap is underneath what you normally look at.
Yeah, this is all way under the hood.
When I hear file format, I think of
Like
the
a
file
doc-
format of a document.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's not changing. So a DOC file is still a DOC file. A JPG is still a JPEG.
And what is the general hardware?
My understanding is anything 2010 and lower cannot run High Sierra. Not saying somebody couldn't figure a way out to do it, Jim, but for the most part, Apple will not support any machine, say 2010 or older, to run High Sierra. There might be an exception here or there, but for the most part, it's like they want you 2011 and higher. Dan?
When I looked up whether my mid-2000s Mac Pro, it says 10, but that's the cutoff.
Right. Yeah, there are some 10 models that are there. Early 10s, I think, don't. Mid-10 and late 10s do. So, but it's sort of simple to say Apple would like you to buy a new computer if it is older than a 2011, and for a lot of reasons. Yes.
Totally wrong. So you mentioned dot .doc. What is dot
DAT? I don't know.
That's a
A Windows
Windows file.
file.
Is there any way to open it up?
I have no idea.
Probably not.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're
is
welcome.
that what you're saying?
Yeah, DAT file.
WINDA?
No, just DAT.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question.
And I will project.
Thank you.
It's the speech teacher. Okay, Christmas is coming, and I want to ask Santa Claus for a Apple Pencil.
Yes.
What good is it?
I am so sorry you are sitting so close to somebody that's going to be able to tell you everything about it.
I'll let you decide.
Okay. I will tell you what's wonderful about it for me. When I got my iPad Pro, I bought an Apple Pencil, and I started playing around with it. And it allows me to highlight things. Okay, I'm good with that. Lets me write things out, and then there are programs that will convert it over to text. Long time ago, back in the mid-90s, Apple had a program and a device called the Newton. Okay, one of the very first PDFs. There are a lot of features, software-wise, that came from that product back in the mid-90s that are utilized in iPhones and in iPads. And they always, Steve said, hey, you don't need a stylus, you got 10 of them right here. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But your finger can only do so much. And I can't tell you how frustrating it is when I'm at work and I ask someone, here, sign on this iPad for your the repair that we're doing for you. And I will see, ladies, I am very sorry. I'm just going to say that now. I will see a woman use her fingernail and try to write on the iPad with her fingernail, and nothing shows up. And I have to explain to them, no, you need to use your finger because it's looking for the bone in your finger. It's looking for that density to pick it up. And then they will either use their finger, or if they have really long fingernails, I see them use their knuckle, and they'll sign their name. The Apple Pencil allows people to sign their name more like pen and paper. And if you wanted to sign a PDF form, you know that writing with your finger, it looks horrible. And if it is a legal document, you really want it to look right. The Apple Pencil gives you that ability to make it look right. And
why does it need to be recharged? Why is it, if you're telling me it's looking for the bone in my finger, I would assume that this type of plastic imitates the bone in my finger and lets me write.
to an extent, yes. So it picks it up because it's also running through the Bluetooth on your device, on the iPad Pro.
Does it have buttons?
Has no buttons. What,
The pen, does it have a button or two?
so actually it does.
That's why I have.
So that tip of the pen, when you push down hard, it's like when you push down hard on a pen, a real pen. It makes the line fatter. When you write lightly with it, you get more of that feather stroke effect. Depending on what you use on your iPad Pro, you can set it for marker, you can set it for pen, you can set it for pencil. I mean, it gets ungodly thin. And, give me a second. So when I saw this, I thought of Sheeta. And I walked in, and I sat down my iPad Pro in front of her with the pencil. And I just said, play with this, and I walked away. I have never seen anybody smile so huge after maybe 5 minutes of just playing around with it, because I know that, I'm sure she's used Wacom tablets before and used their devices. And anyone that has ever used a Wacom tablet and then picked up the Apple Pencil and used it on an iPad Pro for like highlighting something or filling something in or illustration work has done the, oh, I'd hate to have stock in Wacom. Because it does exactly that. It just turns your mind on its side and you look at it and you say, I can do so much more. And I'm sure you've probably seen some of the commercials where people, you know, they show drawn on the iPad Pro.
Saw a video.
Yeah, so you see these people that have talent way beyond I'll ever have. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, how did you draw this? But then we all know somebody that can sit down and charcoal sketch something out, or do a portrait, or do a landscape. And this gives you so much more flexibility and freedom. I work with some people that they're artists. We'll just leave it at that. And they're like, oh no, it's never as good as what I can do by hand drawing it and then painting the colors in with oils and all this until they start using it. And then suddenly it's mind-blown time. The capabilities that you suddenly get are truly amazing. If you want an Apple Pencil and you have an iPad Pro, you will be a very happy person.
Okay, one final.
Sure.
If we're talking, you keep saying iPad Pro.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I bought it. But I just bought an iPad.
Sure. Okay.
And I don't know if it's a Pro.
It's not.
It's an amateur. I don't know.
If it's an iPad mini, that's exactly what it is. The Apple Pencil does not work on a regular iPad or an iPad mini.
And it won't work on my iPhone 6 Plus.
No. So, it will work on an iPad Pro, which comes in 3 sizes. So, currently there's 2 sizes. When I bought mine, I bought the 12.9 inch because my goal was to replace this. I'm almost there. The Apple Pencil gives me some more flexibility with different things. If I'm highlighting a PDF document, if I'm trying to fill things in. So they made this size. Then they made the 9.7, which is the same size as your regular iPad. That's the one that Sheeta has. That's the smallest one, which we no longer make. Because now the new version of the iPad Pro is the 12.9 and the 10.5 inch instead of the 9.7. It is a wonderful iPad. It's one of those perfect sizes. So. Right, but you get more screen out of it, which is just wonderful all the way around. Dan?
I'd like to add a comment about the pencil.
Sure.
As an artist, it allows me to do anything that I could do with a pencil, a pen, a brush, a piece of charcoal. And there are a lot of other things out there, a lot of apps that let you paint, let you draw, let you do what used to be like calligraphy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all at the tip of this Apple Pencil. Control is phenomenal.
True. Is it very?
It's ultra fine control. You push, it gets thicker. You push harder, it gets even thicker. You tilt it a certain way, it works more like you're working on the side of a piece of charcoal. It's an amazing thing. The reason you have to charge it is because the electronics in there, in that tip, is what really makes it work. But it charges. You simply plug it into your iPad Pro.
Right.
And within a minute, you're at like 10%.
Yeah.
And within 15 charge.
Yeah, it's within an hour you're fully charged going off of the iPad itself.
Right.
The nice thing is when Santa does bring the pencil to you, in the box there is a adapter that fits on the end of the pencil when you take the cap off, and it goes in, and it's a double lightning adapter. So it plugs on the lightning port of the pencil, and then you can just take a regular lightning cable and plug it in. 5-watt charger is all you need. You can use a 10-watt charger or a 12-watt, it's all right, and it will charge it up for you as well. It'll do it a lot faster than doing it through the iPad, but like Dan said, it'll get you to 10% in 5 minutes, maybe 15%, which is enough to let you use that thing for at least an hour. So you've got that availability for you. You may also want to mention to Santa, because sometimes Santa is a thrifty shopper, that while the pencil sells for $99, if you just walk in the store, It is now available on the Apple Refurb site for $79. So you can, you know, quantities vary, but you can buy an Apple Pencil that's been refurbished for $79. You have no idea how many people bought an iPad mini and bought an Apple Pencil, and it doesn't work. And when they return that pencil, it cannot be sold as new because someone got it. So when Apple gets product back like that, it will end up on the refurbished site and be put there. Okay?
Very good, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You talked about the similarities of using the iPad, like a Wacom tab.
Yes.
Is there any way to use it like that?
I did not hear the question.
She would like to know, because of the similarities between the Wacom tablet and the iPad Pro, can you use an iPad Pro like a Wacom tablet?
Is there any way to get that into a desktop or a laptop?
I don't believe you can do it that way. I don't think it's designed to replace a Wacom tablet because Apple still sells those.
Yeah.
However, if you're working on an image, if you can get that image over to your iPad Pro, you should be able to modify it that way.
Can I say this and then?
Yes.
Maybe start with the thing. How I use the iPad pencil, I have a couple apps, Adobe Sketch. I'm doing renovations on my house. I take a picture, bring it into my iPad Pro, and then I can do overlays. So I can sketch up something, don't like this, I can color something, don't like this. I can color the paint of the house. I can color this, or I can draw up any type of imagery. Some of the apps allow you to take the images and sort of make the images 3D, and then I can draw those up. I can put countless amounts of overlays over this one image, turn them on to see if it works. All the work that I've done to refurbish my house, I've done this way, so that I can visualize it before I do it. Works like a charm. Right.
Okay. We have to get the meeting going. It's wonderful that we're having all this back and forth. It truly is. So thank you so much for this. But we do really need to get the show on the road. Hopefully you'll stick around this time. Okay. Today's meeting, Apple TV 4K, iPhone 8, and iPhone 10. So, I'm going to start with the Apple TV 4K because this is the one that makes me really happy. I love the Apple TV. I have had every version of the Apple TV, and the Apple TV is helping me cut the cable because I have it hooked up to the televisions in the house, and with some of the features that are available in it now, I don't need cable anymore. I need internet, but I don't need cable. And I'm about to cut my Comcast/Xfinity bill from about $190 a month down to about, I'm hoping, maybe $100. I'm really good with that because I'm just going to pay for an internet connection. That's it. I could drop it lower if I was willing to take a slower speed on the internet. But once you have a really fast speed, you don't want to go back.
Are you going business or residential?
I am on residential, and I am on the 75 megabit plan. That supposed. Yeah, it'll boost to 100. Yeah, I average typically 58 for the most part, unless my son is at home and he's upstairs gaming online. Then it takes a little bit of a drop, but that's okay. The very first Apple TV had a hard drive in it, and you could store your purchases on that hard drive. You could It came with a 40 gig hard drive or a 160 gig hard drive. I actually won a 40 gig hard drive here at the group, where I, the next day, took it to the Somerset store, exchanged it, and paid the difference for the 160, because I really wanted the 160. And I filled it a little more than halfway with movies from the iTunes store. Really happy about that. It was a very large box. It was really big. It did have HDMI. It also had component cabling. The next generation came out with a small hockey puck sized box. HDMI, yeah. Did not have any internal storage. There was an 8 gig flash memory chip inside of it. That's all there was. And that was just for holding the operating system and some settings. And that was about all. The Apple TV 3 was a little step up in processor speed, essentially the same TV. The Apple TV 4 gave you storage again, because now you could download apps. So if you wanted to play a game, you could download it on there and it would keep track of it. I really liked that. It had Siri on it, which was a really cool interface. I have 2 of those hooked up to TVs currently. My daughter has my 3rd one, which that's okay. I have 3 televisions in the house hooked up.
All wireless?
No. Well, the Apple TVs are hooked up to the Wi-Fi. They have Ethernet ports, so if I wanted to mainline the internet signal in there, I could. But yeah, they are hooked up to there. The one TV upstairs is Apple TV. That's the only thing connected to it. So when guests come over, it's in the guest bedroom. They can watch any of the movies that I've got on there or any of the TV shows, and make it work through there. That's an Apple TV 3 hooked up to that one. I will be moving a 4 up there once I purchase the new 4K model. So, what's new with the Apple TV 4K? The biggest thing in it was the processor. The processor bumped up from the A8 chip now to the A10X Fusion chip. Video output is now at 2160p instead of 1080, so that is 4K support. Also supports Dolby Vision and HDR10 versus your standard 1080p, which the Apple TV 4 does. For the people that want to mainline their internet into their Apple TV, the biggest feature is that it supports gigabit Ethernet versus 10100. So you can now push data a lot faster if you're hardwired, because some people will set up their house and have Ethernet hooked up all throughout the house. This is a huge thing, because the one thing my wife hates is watching it and suddenly the screen buffers and you get the spinning gear. So one thing that she does not like is when she's watching a good movie, she wants to watch the movie. She doesn't want to be interrupted. So with the gigabit Ethernet, I will be setting that up and hardwiring the big TV in our back room to that. It now supports dual band Wi-Fi. Before, it only supported 2.4 gigahertz. Now it supports 2.4 and 5.0. Most people with a fairly recent router for their Wi-Fi, I would say if you have one that was purchased in the last 4 or 5 years, you have dual band. So you can run 2 different speed levels. At my house, the main network is on the 5 gigahertz. The guest network is on the 2.4, because if someone's staying at my house, I don't want them to get comfortable. Honestly, you're welcome to visit, but I'm going to make sure that the internet is not that fast for you. What's the line? Company and fish after 3 days? Yeah. So that's it. It also has Bluetooth 5.0 built into it. Bluetooth 5.0 is the latest version of the Bluetooth technology. Everything else that most people have is either 3.0 or, in the last 3 years, 4.0. 5.0 is now the latest one. It takes advantage of the remote controller because it works on Bluetooth instead of Wi-Fi. So you don't have to worry about it interfering. If you have Bluetooth headphones, were you aware that you can pair them up to your Apple TV? You can. And that's been around for a couple of years. If you have a pair of AirPods, you can, my wife likes this the best. I can take the AirPods out, watch the Apple TV while she's trying to go to sleep, and she doesn't have to hear the television. She does get mad when I start laughing, because I wake her up that way while I'm watching something funny. So it works great. She's also tired of hearing the Pirates of the Caribbean music, so I'm very happy with the AirPods, so I can listen to them that way. In the photo, that's the brand new Siri remote. The brand new Siri remote looks a whole lot like the old Siri remote. However, the menu button has a circle around it now. What's the big deal of a circle? If you have an Apple TV with the Siri remote, and it's a 4th gen, I guarantee you picked it up upside down, I don't know how many times, because you're not sure what end is up. This was probably the simplest thing they could do for people to go, oh, that's up. Because I know I would pick it up off the table while watching TV. The room's sort of dark, and I don't know if I have it the right way or not. Now, it'll be easier to know what side is up. And you think, well, that's not really a big deal. But that's just attention to detail like Apple tries to pay to everything. And once you pick up the remote the wrong way and things go weird, you'll be happy that you can see it this way. This remote will also work with the older Apple TV. It now ships with the 4th gen model as well. So they've made the step over to that. On the back of the Apple TV, there used to be a USB-C port. It was there for servicing the Apple TV. On previous models of the Apple TV, it was a micro USB port. So if you had a problem with the Apple TV, you could restore it through iTunes, but you would need that cable that would take you to micro USB to USB, so you could plug it in your computer and restore it like you would an iPhone or an iPad or an iPod. The 4th gen had a USB-C to USB plug, so you could do the same thing. They have removed it completely because now you can restore it through the settings app on the Apple TV itself. It will make the connection to the internet as long as it was already been connected and let you restore it that way. Again, the Siri remote is a cosmetic change, just because the white circle makes it easier to find the menu button. Dimensions are exactly the same as the 4th generation Apple TV. The 2nd and 3rd generation was a shorter hockey puck. The 4th generation made it a little taller because they added flash memory. You could get 32 gigs or 64 gigs of memory. The Apple TV 4K model, again, 32 gigs or 64 gigs of memory. They still sell the Apple TV 4, It's $149 with 32 gigs. The Apple TV 4K model is, the 32 gig is $179, the 64 gig is $199, which is the same price as the 64 gig on the Apple TV 4. The storage is used for apps only. You can't store movies on it like you could with the very first generation. You can't store photos on it like you could with the very first generation. You can't store music on it like you could with the first generation. They've tried to make it simpler and go from there. One of the nice features is being able to stream, if you have an Apple Music account, you can stream your music through the Apple TV once you log in with your Apple ID and password, which is a nice feature. I also believe that part of the reason for going to the Bluetooth 5.0 is for when the new HomePod comes out at the end of the year, which is Apple's new speaker / personal assistant. So anyone that is familiar with the Amazon Echo, where you can say, hey Alexa, and boom. And I hope I didn't trigger somebody on the internet who's watching this at home and they have an Echo, because now she's going to rear her head up and look. But the nice feature is with the HomePod, it'll now be Siri. So when that comes out, you'll be able to use that. Unfortunately, they're saying it'll be December. December has 31 days. So we don't know exactly when in December it'll hit, but I am sure that that'll be on the news once they are made available, or once they start pre-ordering. So, this is a question of the month. Will the Apple TV 4K work with my current TV? And that's the average consumer asking that question. If you own any of these TVs, the answer is no. Okay? They're really cool TVs all the way around, but none of these obviously have an HDMI port anywhere near them. So the answer is yes, but better if you have a 4K TV currently. I have a 1080 television. I just got it last year. I am in love with it. I didn't want to spend the money for a 4K TV because I thought it was too expensive. And remember how I said my daughter got a 4th gen Apple TV? I got her a 4K TV for her apartment at college. So, Dave, you have a 1080, but you didn't go 4K because it was too expensive. Yes, a year ago, it was ungodly expensive. So I spent the money and I got myself the biggest 1080 TV on floor model that I could get, because I am slightly cheap. I love my television. It's a 70-inch Sony. It's great. I got it for a really good price. I bought my daughter a 55-inch 4K television, refurbished, for $270. So, the prices of 4K TVs are dropping.
So she's getting the 70-inch TV?
No, she will never get that television. Yeah. I'm sorry?
How does a relatively new, up-to-date device get refurbished?
You and I walk into Best Buy. We look at a television. Hey, I want that television. We each buy the same one. I go home, my TV doesn't work right. Yours does, because they're made by people. I return my TV, you keep yours, you're happy. I return mine and say, give me my money back, forget it. I wait 6 months. I go get the same TV on a refurbished, and I suddenly pay half of what we paid originally. Because technology advances so quickly that if you wait 6 months, Everything like that just goes so much better.
Well, there was something wrong with it, and they took it apart, they fixed it.
I don't care. I took it back and I got my money back. You have yours, you love yours. I gave up on it. I'm like, no, forget it, because it was bad taste. So it's gone. 6 months later, I see a refurbished one. Okay, I know that that refurbished one is going to work. I have faith in refurbished products because I've seen so many times when I've purchased a refurbished product through Apple, I know that it's gone through extra steps to make sure that it really works. I also had a friend that used to work for Best Buy, and he always said, if you want to buy a TV, you buy it just before the electronics shows comes out, because they're trying to push out all the old stuff. His other suggestion was a week after the Super Bowl, because all the people that would buy a great big TV for their party would return it within a week. Well, again, it's no longer a new TV or device.
So that makes it refurbished?
So Apple, I will speak to what Apple does. You bought a new MacBook Pro last week. You decided that that 13-inch screen was not big enough for you. You wanted a 15. So you returned it within the return policy, and you bought your 15. That 13-inch model is no longer brand new. So it goes back to Apple. They make sure that it's completely erased. They test everything to make sure everything's perfect. If there's a scratch on it, they replace whatever it is where the scratch is, so it looks brand new. They can't sell it as new. They sell it as refurbished. If you buy it as refurbished, it comes at a discount. It's a brand new computer. Yeah, it was in someone's hands for less than 2 weeks, but it's a brand new computer, and they're giving you full warranty on it.
Full warranty and life?
Yep. And you can save a couple $100. Sorry?
Plus you can get Apple Care on it.
And you can add Apple Care to it as well. So Apple has refurbished products for almost everything. Phones, iPads, computers, Apple Pencils. They're all there. Even Apple Watches. So if you wanted to, you can pick things up that way. You'll save a little bit of money. You know that you're getting a device that's been tested more thoroughly than something that was just off the assembly line that they pull every 100th model just to test it. You know that you're good there, and you know you're saving some money.
Difference between UHD television, which you probably watch your daughter,
Okay?
true 4K.
Right. So UHD, my understanding, is a step up from 1080 and a step down from 4K. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. The TV that my daughter has is 4K. So up on the screen, this is what Apple put up. Look at left side compared to right side. Can you see a difference? Okay. So the colors are more pronounced. Right. So the Apple TV 4K gives you HDR. So you get more. Now, there's an asterisk. There's always an asterisk. In the corner here, it says dramatization. I am sure that Apple enhanced this a little bit to show you the difference. I am positive of that. But that being said, that's kind of the difference that you see. The last time anyone put a VHS tape in a machine and played it on their TV, how high quality was that? Okay, your DVD. That's better. Your Blu-ray. Holy smokes. Now they have 4K Blu-rays. Oh. But the problem I have with 4K, while these colors are great and they're a little expensive, even though the prices are dropping, it has what a lot of people refer to as the soap opera effect. So if you turn on a soap opera on the television, the way that they shoot the video, it's like looking through a window. You know, the colors are a little too much there, it's a little too bright, and it's
unreal.
not real. It's like you're a peeping Tom. So that's the part that sort of throws me off. Now, if I'm watching something that's showing like a nature thing, where like they're showing waterfalls and they're going down the river in the jungle and things like that, all those colors pop out. They're enhanced. That's the whole point. It's a little too...
Analog versus digital.
Correct.
When digital first came out, it was something uncomfortable about listening to it,
Right.
as opposed to the old analog record. It's the same thing in the visual world.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just, it's too sharp almost. It's like it's not.
Correct. I would agree that it is too sharp looking, and it's, while they say it's lifelike, it's a little too lifelike for my taste. So.
On the previous slide, he said yes, but there.
So.
Okay, are there other, aside from the image quality issues, are there things you can't do with the old television?
With the old Apple TV?
No, if you don't have a 4K TV.
Right.
Are there limitations?
Yes.
To what you can use?
You're going to get sort of the left side. So on my...
But that's the picture.
Yeah.
Aside from
No.
the picture.
Nope.
The functionality.
The functionality is identical. It's the picture is what they're selling. And if you have a 4K television set, you will be able to take advantage of this high definition picture. Mm-hmm. And if you're one of those people that, oh, let me sit down in the front of the TV and wow me with how good it looks, that's what you will get there. Whereas my 1080 TV, I'm going to look at more like the left side. It's not going to be 4K, but it's going to look more like that compared to what the other side if I really had a 4K TV. So.
Can you calibrate?
No. The calibration would have to be on the television set, not on the Apple TV. The signal that it puts out is what it puts out. If your TV allows for calibration, you can play with it all you want.
I'm talking about, I have, I guess it's a 5K iMac 27-inch.
Mm-hmm.
To use it, you know, to get the color
Sure.
between your camera, the printer, and the TV.
Yeah, this is not going to calibrate the same way. Most televisions now have the calibration settings for, do you want to be in theater mode? Do you want to be in game mode? Do you want normal mode? Is your room bright and sunny? Is your room really dark? Those are different settings you can do on your television. Has nothing to do with the Apple TV. So that's what the Apple TV will bring to you. I plan to hook this up to mine. I do not expect a 4K picture, but I can't tell you how many people have said, oh, this is going to turn my television into a 4K TV. No, it will not. Not at all. You have to have that to begin with. I'm going to have you hold your questions because we need to sort of get moving along here because, yeah, I'm running out of time.
Hold the phone.
Well, we might need to hold the phone. That is true. Okay, I'm gonna hop through the phone, and then we're gonna continue on with the phone at another meeting because there's just no way I'm gonna be able to roll through all of this today. So I appreciate your patience, and I hope you don't mind.
Cover the iPhone 10?
If I can get through this first, we'll even get to that. So, all right. So Apple has always put out an S version of a phone. So there was the 3G and 3GS, 4, 4S, 5, 5S, 6, 6S, 7, 8. Okay. I thought for sure personally they were going to jump to a 7S and then whatever phone they were going to come out with that is now currently called the iPhone 10. But they jumped it up. And usually when they go to the S model, it's just a processor bump, maybe a little better camera, and that's usually how it's been. Well, the iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus definitely are, while the form looks the same, they have been completely remodeled. And The easiest thing to see when you pick one up is you notice that, hey, there's glass on the front and the back. Okay, so they redid the glass and the aluminum for the case on there. Supposedly this gets better antenna signal because of the glass and the aluminum that's on there, instead of having it with, if they could get away by putting glass on, they could make the aluminum thinner. The thinner the aluminum, the better the antennas work. The display is the Retina HD display. You will see a difference between an iPhone 6 and an iPhone 8 looking at the display. It's a lot sharper, clearer, brighter. Between a 7 and an 8, I would tell you, yeah, it seems a little brighter. The 7 is a fantastic phone. The 8 is a fantastic phone. But the display, definitely between the 6 or the 6 Plus, you will see a difference in the display quality, just like you saw a difference between a 4 and a 5. We'll get there in a second. It now offers the new A11 Bionic chip, which I don't know why they had to go with the $6 million man reference for their new chip, but somebody thought it was a good idea in marketing. I'm gonna blame Phil Schiller. The new cameras in these phones, the single and the dual cameras are a step up from the 7, which when I first saw a 7 and took pictures with it, I was blown away with the quality that that phone can actually achieve with those cameras. There is also the portrait lighting feature that is available in there, which lets you adjust the lighting for if you're taking a portrait of someone. You know, not the selfie mode, but you're trying to get a good clean shot of somebody, and there's a lot of nice features. One of the biggest features that my wife has asked for years is wireless charging. Wireless charging is a godsend. It truly is. I was able to get her wireless charging. Mophie makes a wireless charging case. It's spelled QI, it's pronounced Qi. My wife likes going to IKEA. She thinks that table with that wireless charging thing would be really good to have. I agree with her. They have a lamp that has a table with the wireless charging. I think that would be a great thing in my office. But the iPhone didn't work that way with the 6 or the 6 Plus. Doesn't work that way with the 7. The 8, it does. This case is a battery case and a wireless charging. I have this pad in the kitchen counter that we just set the phone on, and it charges it. I don't have to get any cables. I don't have to do anything.
Does it work in your truck?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question. So Mophie also sells, if you can see this mount that goes on a vent. This plugs into the USB port in my truck. This is mounted up there. We just spent the last 8 days out west. We went to visit our son in Park City, Utah. So we flew to Vegas, drove up to Utah, did a bunch of national parks, and then came down to Arizona and went to the Grand Canyon. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. It's amazing. It is terrifying. I have a fear of heights. I love airplanes. Put me in an airplane, let's go. I have no problem with that. Put me up in a high tower, I am trembling like a baby. Put me along the edge of a cliff. No, thank you. No, just no, thank you. So I took this with me and plugged it into the rental car. I am a Ford person. I married into a Ford family, so I'm a Ford guy. We were supposed to get a Fusion. I was all excited. They gave us a Chevy Impala. Okay, well, all right. They gave me a black Chevy Impala. Okay, all right. The best thing about this though, the car had multiple USB ports all over the place. Oh, I like that. My wife's looking at the radio and the little pad on the dash. Well, what does this do? It doesn't open or anything. Hits a button on the dash, the radio goes up. There's a hidden compartment with a USB port. Awesome. So she's like, okay, perfect. She plugs in a lightning cable in there and she'll plug up her iPad if she needs to get a charge out of it. Because once the radio's on, it keeps playing even though the screen goes black. Cool. This I had plugged in the console and up on the vent, and Apple Maps did not fail me once the entire time.
Did you find it just below the infotainment center, the little door that opens up that has a charging pad in it?
It didn't have a charging pad. It just had the USB port in the one we had.
There's a door underneath the screen.
Right.
It should open up and have.
Right, it opened, it had the two USB ports.
That would be enough.
On the one I had did.
Oh, okay, then that's a lower line, that wasn't the full.
Right.
line.
No, it was not a top-of-the-line model. Although it did have the EcoBoost motor, like Ford has, which I was really happy, because in my truck it has that, and when I pull up to a light, the engine dies. That's kind of weird. But then as soon as I take my foot off the brake, it kicks back on. So I get good mileage. Going downhill in this Impala, I was averaging 99 miles a gallon. Yay! Going uphill, not so much. Because, as my wife pointed out, did that elevation sign say 6,000 feet? That one says 7. That one is 9,200. 9,500 was the highest elevation that we got. It's hard to breathe when you're that high up. So, moving along. Wireless charging is a great thing. It's the wave of the future. You're gonna love it. Apple keeps touting AR support, augmented reality. Personally, I don't understand why they're going that route, but I can see it because for something, people that want to do like gaming stuff or, hey, let me use this app to put this IKEA chair in my living room while you've got the camera open and you can drop it in so you can see what it looks like. That's what augmented reality will do. It should do more in the future as well. That's fine. Once we see it more in the reality, I think we'll talk more about it with the group. The iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus is available in 3 colors. Let me go back. All right, so it's in 3 colors. Space gray, silver. They got rid of rose gold, and they got rid of gold. So the new gold is called blush gold. So it's a little in between gold and rose gold. One of the new things, it is better dust and water resistant, not waterproof. So you can't take it swimming. You can't take it in the hot tub. Please don't take it in the shower. The 12 megapixel camera will shoot 1080p slow motion up to 240 frames per second. So if you are someone that knows video, raise your hand. Okay. 240 frames per second. That's pretty good. Ken, if you were using 240 frames per second, this would be like watching the slow motion stuff they do on television and in the movies. Is it that fast or almost?
What you're doing.
Okay.
Normal frame rate is good.
30 or 60. So 240 is amazing.
4 frames a second.
Okay. All right. So
gives you more frames, and then matter of spread those frames out.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Because I don't know this stuff. There's also support for HEIF and HEVC for up to 2 times compression and storage. And who can't use more storage on the device they already have? Portrait lighting is something that we will be talking about at a future meeting. It's bringing the phone into more of a professional level. Not a perfect, but it's getting a lot closer. And then iOS 11 has a ton of expanded Siri features built into it that we don't have time today to get through. On the left side of the screen, you can see the space gray, the silver, and then the new gold. The upper right corner is showing off the new cameras up there on the 8. And of course, down at the bottom, you see water splashing on there. So it's splash resistant, not water resistant.
There's no cable connector.
So, sorry?
There's no lit cable connector.
There's a lightning cable connector on the bottom still, correct. But they're designing it more and more to have more gaskets to it to help prevent water from getting in. But nothing's perfect yet. Once they go full wireless with these, where there is no lightning cable, which probably will happen in a few years, that'll be great. All right, I'm gonna jump ahead real fast. I'm sorry?
The extra battery,
I don't know.
it's an iPhone 7.
I do not think they have a battery case for the 8 yet.
Yeah, battery.
Well, probably because of the wireless charging.
Oh, yeah. You can-
Yeah, I think that's the issue.
You have to use those new wireless earbuds, there's no place to plug it in.
There is still a place. The lightning plug is still on the bottom, and you can get, if you bought a new phone, you will get the adapter to plug in older headphones with the plug. Okay, quickly, iPhone 10. We'll get there. Really quick. All right. So, you have the iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus. 2 different size phones. I like the 8 Plus, or the 8 Plus size. I like the Plus size for one reason in particular. When I'm looking at email, I can turn it this way, and by holding it this way, I get a list of my emails on the side and the email message itself over here, similar to a computer. For me, that was the one, because I thought this size phone was dumb. Who wanted a phone this big? Now I'm very happy I have it, and I think it's a great way to go. The iPhone 10 is the future. It is in between dimensions of an 8 and an 8 Plus. So it's in between. However, the display size is larger than the Plus size phone. So, not a lot, but enough. My public service announcement for every Apple employee worldwide. iPhone X is pronounced iPhone 10. Please be that person that corrects your friends and family members so they say it right, because I can't tell you how frustrating it is to hear people say, I have an iTouch, or I'm at the iPod store, or the iPhone store. Okay.
Teach Roman numerals anymore.
Well, exactly. So, because of Roman numerals, here are your guidelines. Xcode, Xserve, Xraid. Those are X's. OS 10. Yes, 10. iPhone X. Yes, iPhone 10. So if you can help other people, yay, Apple people or employees around the world will thank you. So the iPhone 10 has the biggest display ever on an iPhone. Why they are calling it Super Retina display, I don't know. My idea was it was going to be an OLED display, which I believe it is, but I think they didn't want to pay for the licensing of using the name OLED, So they called it Super Retina. It supports Dolby Vision and HDR10. The biggest feature for most people is Face ID, which replaces Touch ID because the button is gone. If you watched the keynote event, they showed how you could open up the phone with just your face. Because once you've set it up, it recognizes your face. The best thing for the men in the room, if you grow a mustache or a beard, it still recognizes your face. If you put your glasses on, it recognizes your face. Pretty cool. If you put sunglasses on, it does not recognize your face. And, as my wife put it, so I can hold this up to your face while you're sleeping and open the phone? No. Your eyes have to be open. If your eyes are not open, it will not unlock the phone.
Will a picture of yourself?
No, a picture will not do that either. There is another brand of phone that, well, they'll be nameless, Android, that you can hold a picture up to. Or I think they even held it up to like a computer screen with someone's picture on there, and it unlocked the phone. The Apple technology will not do that. So you can't, if someone wants you to unlock your phone so they can get into it, let's say they're robbing you, just keep one eye closed, because it won't work. Just keep winking at it.
They're about identical twins.
Yeah, they say identical twins won't work. Yeah. The technology that it uses, identical twins, something about like 1 in a million times it might work, but for the most part, identical twins won't work because just like the fingerprint, it's not your fingerprint, it's a mathematical equation of your fingerprint, and they're doing the same thing with the Face ID. It's a mathematical equation of your eyes, your nose. That's what it's triangulating on.
Is there a digital override?
That part I don't know yet because the phone hasn't been released. So that's where it's coming in. The camera on here is really, really good. And it has the A11 Bionic chip with the neural engine as well. The neural engine part of it is because of the Face ID. So that will allow you to have that work. A lot of people have made complaints about the notch at the top of the phone because that's where the front camera is, and that's also where the Face ID camera is. So when you hold the phone up to your face, it's not taking a picture, but the sensors are trying to recognize if it's really you. I'm wondering myself, like you said, for override, can you put another face on it? Because on my phone, I have my wife's fingerprint on here. It's got 3 of mine and 1 of hers, so that way you can get in if you have to. I'm hoping that it'll allow 2 faces, but they haven't said that yet. So there's more to come. It will be available in stores starting November 3rd. That's what Apple is currently saying. Pre-orders will start on October 27th. If you want an iPhone 10, I suggest that you download the Apple Store app on your phone or iPad and get it ready to go around 11 o'clock that night. Well, at 9 o'clock, yeah, because it'll usually be midnight Pacific time. I'd recommend a couple hours early, get your order ready to go, because usually an hour or 2 before they close the Apple Store, so they can get it up and going. But get your stuff ready to go. So that way, if you are one of those people that, I'm gonna be up at 12:01 so I can press the button, you can do that. Although it might be 3:01 our time, because California is 3 hours behind us. So if you want to pre-order, I know I am, because I like this. The only thing that'll stop me is if I turn it this way and the email doesn't give me both what I want to see, then I'll be buying an 8 Plus. But if it does, excuse me, if it does, I will be going with the 10.